Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing great. It's the long weekend, so I'm very excited to have tomorrow off. I'm really tired though.
Why?
Sundays are always very tiring.
Yeah.
It's funny because if you think about it, the amount of time, it's not that long. It's just literally, like, I don't know, like 2.5 hours, including like fellowship, kind of. But we didn't even go to fellowship today. But yeah, I think I did sleep a lot though. I went to bed at 9.
Wow.
Yeah, and I woke up relatively, I think 8 today.
Wow.
So I slept too much.
Perhaps.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleeping too much can make you groggier.
Yeah.
I feel like. It's true. Are you a koala?
Am I a koala? Yeah.
That's crazy. Basically.
Yeah, it's been a while since I slept this much. But this is usually my normal. I usually sleep this much, but ever since work, I haven't been able to. So it feels nice, but I am tired. But yeah, that's how I'm doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better than last week.
Yes. Can you explain why?
Yeah, so if anyone just hasn't listened to last week's episode, highly recommend. But yeah, I was still in the midst of exam studying, and so it was really taking a toll on me. And so last Saturday, I had reached my breaking point. But now that I've taken the test, I took it this past Tuesday. I don't know the results yet, but I'm acting as if I've passed, so I'm doing a lot better, just a lot happier. Freer.
Love that for you.
Yes. Thank you so much. How are you doing, Judy?
Doing well.
How was your first official day of work?
It was okay. I got up at 6:30.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm gonna like eat breakfast. I'm gonna get ready, get to the office on time. So it was like a fairly good morning, like smooth start. And then I drive into the plaza to get to the office, and then I was following behind a car, and then they started reversing like out of the plaza. So I was like, okay, so then I'm gonna reverse, but then they stopped reversing and then they went forward. So I was like, okay, then I'm gonna go forward because I need to get to the office. I need to park. So I'm like going forward, and then they start backing up again. But at this point, they're really close to my car, so I honked like super loud, and then they got startled, and then so they turn around, and I'm just like staying put because I was like, okay, I'm not risking my car like getting crashed into. And then he like apologizes. He like does a little hand, and then he like leaves the plaza. So I was like, amazing, like what a great start. So I parked my car, thankfully got in on time, and then I didn't have too many meetings that day, so that was good because usually we're like, I think like minimum 3 meetings a day, but that day was only 2, and I'm gonna be busy starting this week. So like I'm getting more put on my plate this upcoming week, but Friday was more just like hey, just letting you know, like once we finish these things up, like it's in your hands. So
responsibilities.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it was okay. It was good. It's good. Yeah.
Well, speaking of cars, that just reminded me on Wednesday, I was going into work and the message alert thing on my dashboard came on and it was saying, oh, your tire pressure. One tire it's like leaking, I was like, no, like this is so scary because I've never had to drive on the freeway in that state. So I was like, okay, I need to somehow maybe use my lunch break to go to the nearby tire shop to get it fixed. So I did that. And then they're like, usually I thought it takes not too long, but they said they had a lot of cars. So I needed to Uber back to my work as they were fixing it, and they would call me. And they called me like 2 hours later, so I had to leave in the middle of work, tell my boss, oh, I really need to pick up my car before the shop closes. So it was just the whole like unnecessary ordeal
That sounds so stressful.
It was stressful, but honestly, I was pretty calm about it.
It's
It
good.
was just annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
But
Car problems are so annoying.
it's like, why today? Why now? Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they know the most inconvenient times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like we all had a relatively okay week, though.
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
like relatively normal.
Yeah. Should we get into today's topic?
Yeah.
Yes, we shall.
Or like today's topic, I don't have it with me, so
Oh.
yeah. Either one of you.
What did we want to be when we grew older? Does that even make sense? Like childhood.
Yeah. As children,
Yes.
what did we want to be? Yeah. I feel like I have a fun anecdote regarding this. When I was in preschool, I feel like it's a normal thing to all go around and share what we want to be. And of course, because we're only 4 or 5 years old, we only know very fantastical things. But one person in my class especially was very, very interesting. And when it was her turn to share, she so confidently raised her hand and said that she wanted to be a carrot. 17 was not in existence at that time, so just a vegetable carrot. And I found that so fascinating because I think her favorite animal was a rabbit. And that was literally the only reason why she wanted to be a carrot, which, if you think about it, is kind of beautiful because she wants to be something beneficial for the animal she loves so much. It's a little gruesome too, but
Sacrificial heart.
yeah. So that will forever remain in my memories. But yeah, did any of you guys have similar fantastical desires as children?
No, but that kind of reminds me. There was this one guy in first grade. He was a little odd. Apparently, I don't know how true this is because he was only there for a year and then he transferred to a different school. So I know nothing about like what he's up to beyond first grade. But he apparently was kind of a genius, like just with like technology. I feel like technology wasn't even like a huge deal back then.
Yeah,
but
It's true.
yeah, apparently he was his mind worked in very interesting ways. But my memory of him is simply he would eat markers, like you know the Crayola ones, the colored ones in the packets.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a cap, right?
Oh.
But on the other side there's a smaller cap where you can take out the capsule, like the ink capsule.
yeah.
He would take off that, which even that in itself, like, who thinks to like take that off?
my
It's not easy, you know.
Yeah.
But you take it off, take out the capsule, and like literally suck on it, like, and like you can tell what color he was sucking on by the color of his tongue. And I genuinely wonder what he's up to now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank God. I'm pretty sure Crayola's non-toxic though.
Yeah,
so
it does say non-toxic on the package.
I'm
Jing.
so
for
glad.
this very reason,
Yeah.
because they know their
Yeah.
target audience is
Yeah.
Children like him.
Yeah. He wanted to be like a mad scientist or something like that, which is quite fitting if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
Dang.
But your carrot story reminded me of him.
I think he tops that.
He was really weird. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
Wow.
Hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to like call out his name. That'll be kinda, you never know who's watching. So.
You never know.
Dang. I can't think about like anything. Okay, this is kind of off topic. But when I was in first grade, basically every second grader in the school was meant to do this like musical / play thing. But I was in a combo class. It was first and second graders.
Ooh.
So I
Interesting.
basically had to be a part of it. And I think the first song that we sing to like open the musical was like, when I grow up I wanna be the very best that I could be, to do the work that's got to be done, I'll find a job that's lots of fun.
Actually, I
I'm
don't know,
free
maybe
to be
not.
me. Okay, but anyways,
Interesting.
That was beautiful.
that was beautiful. I can't believe I remember that.
Core memory.
No, seriously. And like there's a part in the song where people are like yelling out like things they want to be, and then one guy goes, I want to be a bum, and everyone goes, what? Like that was the thing. And at the time it's like hilarious, right? But now that I think about it, it's like he's so real for this.
No, he's so woke. Like,
Yeah, like
Beyond his time.
he foresaw things we could not see at that age.
literally. So now I'm like, wow, I respect him for that, because I don't really want to do much with my life either. I don't know if that sounds so like bad.
No, it's
But
He's speaking what we're all thinking, but too afraid to say. I feel like
I want to make money while doing nothing. You feel me?
that sounds like the life.
Yeah, but I was reminded about that as you guys were sharing.
do you know what he's up to right now?
Did he fulfill his dream?
I think he's actually doing something in the movie industry.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't
Dang.
exactly know. I don't keep in touch with him, but we do follow each other on social media, and I think that's what he's been up to. Yeah,
that's
cool.
if I remember correctly, if he's the guy that I yeah.
He's clearly not a bum. He's doing
Yeah.
really cool things.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. Was there anything you guys wanted to be? You guys?
I feel
dreams?
like every stage in life, it was something different. So like pre-kindergarten, up till kindergarten maybe, I wanted to be like a chef or like famous. I feel like every kid wants to be famous
Oh, yeah.
at some point. And then going into elementary school, I think I was thinking more pragmatically. So one year, I wanted to be a pediatrician because I was still a child, but I was like, I love kids. I was a kid too. So I don't know why I said that. But I wanted to be a pediatrician. Another year, I wanted to be a dentist so that when my parents get older and lose their teeth, I could give them teeth for free.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That was my dream.
It's very sweet.
And then after that, I wanted to be a teacher for the longest time, just like an elementary school teacher. I think that dream existed from like 6th grade until mid-high school. And then high school, I watched Legally Blonde. And then I wanted to get into law. And then I got into like, I was a part of a business club in high school. And so after that, I was like, okay, actually, I think this is more realistic and more practical. And so, yeah, just towards the latter half of high school and then throughout college, just like something in the business field. Business is so broad too. So I didn't know exactly what, but yeah, that was my progression throughout my life.
Dang.
Yeah. That's interesting how you, like, you said business is very broad, but, like, what are your thoughts on entrepreneurs? Because I know you have some opinion on that industry, or yes.
Yes. I hate entrepreneurship. Not saying I hate entrepreneurs, but I myself am not an entrepreneur, which is why I hate.
Why is that? I always wondered.
You know, that's actually a really great question. I think it's just maybe I just kind of like being told what to do. But entrepreneurship is all about like grinding, hustling nonstop. And also, if you go to like, you know, if you listen to those big thinkers or big, you know, people like Mark Zuckerberg, just these big people. I don't know, everything they say just feels very fantastical as well. And so I feel like, yeah, it's just a lot of talk a lot of the times. A lot of these like big ideas is very hard to execute, but entrepreneurship, not saying that it's easy, but it just, yeah, it's not for me. I'm very much more practical and not very good with thinking of like really big picture. And also I took one entrepreneurship class and it was the worst class ever. It was so boring. And also it was just like, just a bunch of cloud, you know, fluffy talk. just didn't feel practical at all to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you were taking that class, and I think, was it online?
Yeah, it was online.
Yeah, so I was in the room when you were taking it, and every time she's just complaining. She's like, "Oh, I hate this class." I'm like, "Oh, wow, you really don't like it."
Yeah, I really don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But props to all the entrepreneurs out there. Y'all are doing the most, truly. Like, I
For
could
real.
never. Yeah.
What did you major in college?
I majored in econ and minored in accounting. Yeah.
Sheesh.
So don't ask me anything about the economy, though. I will not be able to answer. Yep.
What about you, Brittany?
For me, I think, so short answer is I've only had one dream basically my entire life, and it was, in particular, not just doctor, it was cardiac surgeon.
Yep.
And that was pretty set since I was,
A child.
whenever heart, or what's that called? Wow, I forgot what it's called.
The drama?
Yeah.
I don't know either.
What drama?
Oh shoot, how can I forget? It's the...
Is it the White Tower? No.
No, it's heart something. Oh gosh, it's with Cheese-hung.
Yeah.
But it's basically a very old Korean drama about cardiac surgeons, and I think that was like one of the first dramas I ever watched, or it's the only one I can really recall. Growing up, I was so inspired by it that I was like, that is literally what I'm gonna do when I grow up. And since then, that is all like I thought. I think there's a part of me that's very stubborn in a sense, where once I set my mind to something, I don't really think to change it, or that's how I was. But I think there was a point in my life where a transition happened in just the way I think. But yeah, that was basically it. It's a very boring answer, but I think at the same time, while this was always at the core, I always had so many different interests, and it really changed based on what type of media I consumed. It was always, like, even this, it was based off a drama, like a Korean drama. But then, let's say, after I watched Ratatouille, I was like, wow, being a chef seems so cool and so fulfilling as well. When I watched, like, Mission Impossible, I wanted to be a secret agent, stuff like that.
Feasible, for sure.
So feasible. Like even, like, Iris, the Korean drama. I was like, that is what I want to do. I just...
So dangerous.
But it's so exhilarating. And, you know, how cool would it be to just be like, oh, yeah, I'm going on a business trip, and you're just like, you know,
Saving the world.
yeah, saving the world.
It's wild.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys can relate, but every time when you go to the movie theater or just watch a movie, especially at a movie theater, and the movie ends, when you walk down and walk out of the theater, do you feel like, do you feel like some color and aspect of the character is kind of embedded into you, and you're kind of like living it vicariously, or I don't know what the correct term is, but yeah, that was, I think it's accentuated for me, I don't know, but yeah, in that sense, what I wanted to be really changed, but at the core it was always cardiac surgeon. And that really changed in college. Or, you know, it's interesting because I majored in neuroscience, which has nothing to do with cardiac or like the heart, but I think it changed. Maybe I started to become interested in psychology, but then I knew I wanted to go to med school. So I was like, oh, psychology doesn't fulfill the requirements, all of the requirements to apply to med school. So the closest thing to that was neuroscience. I was like, okay, I applied for that and then got in with that degree and stuck through with it all throughout and graduated with it. But in the middle, I think I went through a lot of just realizations where I was working at a hospital. I did like a summer program teaching kids how to do like surgery on pigs. That was literally what it was. Like, we had pig hearts, pig feet, pig everything, and we like taught high schoolers how to do surgery on them. And it was like, honestly, it's really cool if you think about it, and I had a lot of fun.
You got to go to Hawaii.
I did get to go to Hawaii.
Wow.
I don't know why it was in Hawaii. There was
Really great point.
I think the guy in charge of it just really likes Hawaii. So he was like, why not just do it at a hotel there? And I was like, okay.
Say less.
Yeah, say less.
Wow.
But then all of my classes that I took, all of the just shifts I had at the hospital, I never fully enjoyed them. I think I only did them because I knew I had to, and it was out of obligation. And I was looking at my peers at like pre-med clubs and stuff like that, and they're like actually it seems like they're so passionate about what they're learning about. And yeah, it's hard, like no one likes to actually study for tests, but then I did see a difference between my attitude towards studying and learning about these things and my peers who were actually passionate about it. And that really clicked in my head, and I was like, there's no way I can go on and go through with this rough, very challenging path without having an ounce of that passion. And it's even hard even if you are passionate about it. So I was like, oh, there's no way I can do that and not get burnt out and not hate my life, you know? So I ultimately was like, I scrapped the idea. And it was honestly a really huge deal in my life because it was the only thing I knew, honestly. And just letting that go, even if it was out of my own will, it was still very scary. But looking back, it's like the best decision I have made thus far in my life. And yeah, and since then I've been exploring various things. And I think I'm still in the midst of exploring, and I think that is completely fine. And yes,
What a journey.
I remember the day you told like our apartment that you weren't pre-med anymore.
When it was like around Valentine's Day.
It was like middle of winter quarter, like we were nearing spring quarter, because I remember we were so close to the end of our senior year, and then you told us. All of us were like, oh wow, like good for you.
I remember I think it was literally Valentine's Day, and I had a shift. I did like scribing work at a nearby clinic or whatever, and it just ended a lot later than I had planned. And I was like so upset, and I didn't have a car back then, so I had to Uber back to the apartment. And the Uber it was like, oh, connecting you to a driver, and like it just nothing was going my way. And I was like, and it was Valentine's Day on top of that, and I was like, oh, like this is so annoying.
But Lena made us kimchi jjigae.
Exactly. So I came home, and it was like kind of late. It wasn't that late, but you guys were already eating, and I was like, okay, I need to like hurry up and shower and eat the delicious food that Lena made for us. And I think that day was really the turning point. I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. It's just not worth it. And yeah, there's just so much more out there that I haven't had a chance to explore. So why just limit myself to something that I don't even enjoy doing? Yeah.
Dang.
Good for you, Brittany.
Yes.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
How about you, Judy?
Dang. I had an interesting journey too. So when I was in elementary school, I remember my kindergarten teacher, Miss Poling, she was like, her mom was a teacher, like and they like taught at the same school.
Wow.
But they were just like, she was so sweet. Like I genuinely loved her so much. And I remember I saw her and I was like, I want to be a teacher. So I was like, oh, yes, like I'm going to be a teacher. And then I think once I hit like the second or third grade, I was like, oh my God, I want to be a K-pop star. I was like, I really want to be a K-pop star. And I remember my mom and my dad were like, no, that's not happening. And then the thing they always say, it's like, 고생한 사람들만 할 수 있어. Like the people who know like what hardship is, like kids who grew up with a really, really tough life, like couldn't be as comfortable as like I was there. Like those are the type of people that can make it. Like you're not going to succeed.
I've
like
never
you're not
heard
gonna
that
make it.
before.
I know, but if you do look at the background of a lot of K-pop stars, like they are like the main like provider for their families and like the breadwinners. So I get it, and I think when I look back, I do understand a little bit more what they mean. But at that time, I was like, oh my God, like I still want to be a K-pop star. So I think that was kind of like my thing until honestly a really long time, because I don't know. I wanted to like do something in the entertainment industry. I felt like that's what I was like meant to do. So really funny story. I think my sophomore or junior year of high school, SM was having global auditions. And I remember this was the time I was like, okay, I'm going to like try this out. And I feel like it doesn't work out, I just will not go through with it. Not that I'm really like serious about it. So my mom was like, okay, fine, like sure, you're old enough to like make your own decisions, so let's just try. So we went to like a hotel in downtown LA. They made me like sign in. I got a number, and I remember I watched like hella YouTube videos and like people who've done auditions before and like tips and like whatever, right? And they're like, just wear like plain clothing, don't wear any makeup. Almost I followed all of that. I was like, I wore black like head to toe, wore no makeup. And I'm there and we're like sitting, you can tell like everyone's like super nervous. And then the groups are actually divided. There's like dancers, singers, actors. There's like a bunch of different categories.
Models. Like
Models. That was, I think that was one of them too.
Do I know this?
Yeah, how do you know this?
I relate to that. There was a point where I never actually did it, but I would watch those YouTube videos and look it up and be like, what is? Perhaps.
Right? Yeah. Like, it's so interesting. I don't know why I was, like, so into that, but I, like, really wanted to. And I remember I went, like, so they call you by number, and there's a specific amount of people that go into the room. And so once you enter, they make you, like, stand in, like, one line. And then there's, like, 2 video cameras, and then, like, a couple of staff members from the company that are sitting. And so there's one like, person saying the thing, and then there's a translator. And so she gets to me and she goes like, 네, 뭐 노래 한 곡 해보세요. And she's like really like not having it. So I'm like super nervous, but I'm like, okay, I'm just like gonna do it. And then so I sing my part, and then she goes, 좀 고음 있는 노래 좀 불러줄 수 있어요? 그래서 준비 안 했으면 뭐 그냥 이 노래 그냥 좀 높게 좀 이렇게 higher key로 부르든지. And I was like, oh yeah, like sure. But for some reason, there were so many ballads, like so many songs that I could sing in a higher key, but I was like, I don't really want to. I don't know, like I just like couldn't. So I just like sang the song that I auditioned with in a higher key, but obviously that's not what they were looking for, and I knew that. So yeah, I think I was just like, okay, yeah, like it is what it is. And then like I never heard back from them, and I was like, oh, that's like fine. But
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
you're so good.
But I'm pretty sure there are other people that actually wanted it more than I did. So it's like I can't say anything about that. But yeah, I guess like her wanting to hear me sing more does say something. Yeah. But I was just like, oh, I don't. So yeah, that happened, and then I remember I was like, oh man, but I still kind of want to go through with this. So I asked my parents. I was like, I really want to like do the singing thing. And at this point I was taking classical singing lessons because my parents felt like every parents, they're always like classical music is the foundation of like all music types, which I understand, but like that wasn't what I wanted to do, you know? So I'm like, so my parents like, just go through with it and like go to college, and then like from there like you'll figure out what you really want to do. So I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, I'm like studying opera, basically like classical voice, and I'm getting like 3-4 lessons a week, and it's like really tiring. Do my college auditions. I get into UCLA, so I majored in music education with a vocal emphasis, and I was like, I'm gonna become a choir teacher. And then I was like, nope. Nope. So yeah, and then I was like, maybe I'll become a PA, and like I'll do dermatology stuff, and I'll like give people Botox and fillers, and like yeah, like how cool. And then I worked at a dermatology office, and wow, like people are so mean. And I think honestly, like I'm not a big people person. I love the people that I love, but like it's just hard when they're like strangers, and the main population of the patients were like, there were a lot of most of them are white, and for me, like I grew up really like around a lot of Asian like friends and people, so talking to them felt so intimidating sometimes, like especially when I'm in a place where like I have to be nice to them and like, you know, like do good service for them. But yeah, anyways, I was just like, yeah, this is not for me. So I did a UX UI boot camp. Yeah, I guess like I do enjoy it and I do want to do it, but something I've realized about myself is like I'm not the type of person that has like big dreams for like career and stuff. Like I will have a job that sustains my lifestyle. Yeah, so I have like different hobbies and different things I like to do, but I don't think I'll ever do them as my career. Yeah, sorry, that was really long, but
It's so if like a casting agent just comes up to you right now and gives you their card and is like, oh, like
I saw your SoundCloud.
yeah, something like that. Like I discovered you on some social media or whatever, and I think you would be a perfect fit for like a new K-pop group that we're trying to form. What do you think you would at least try it out and see what they're talking about?
at like this age,
Let's say you were let's say this was in college, like freshman year.
college, freshman year. I feel like that's still pretty late. I feel like I would have said no. Yeah. Just because even at that point, like what, that's like 2018, 2019, even at that point, all the K-pop trainees were so young. And a lot of K-pop groups that were forming at that time were like people around our age. So I feel like I would have just been too behind, as much as like there's no such thing as like, you know, right timing, like you're behind or whatever. But I think to also just throw away my whole like UCLA like admission, blah blah, it would have just felt like too much. So I think I would have said no. Yeah. If someone asked you freshman year,
Oh, no, I would say no just because I know I'm not skilled whatsoever. Like, compared to just, no, like, you have to have, like, I don't know what the English term is, but gi, like, gi가 있어야 돼. But I just am very far from that. So
It's not just talent, but it's like the desire to show it off. And like
you just have to have it in you. But like some people do, some people don't, and the people who actually make it in that industry are the people who do. So
right.
yeah. And when I was growing up, and when I was deep into that, like, oh, like I love EXO. You know, it seemed very glamorous, just their lifestyle for some reason. But now I'm looking at these K-pop idols and it does not look glamorous anymore. I just feel really bad for them, honestly. Just because your lifestyle is so limited. You can't dictate how to live, and it's just controlled by these mega agencies.
And you see on the news, like, they don't get their cut of things, and not even just the K-pop groups, but even just people who work at like 방송국, like the broadcast stations. I feel like the PDs and writers, like, wow, that's also glamorized too, but they're just like editing all night, like you know that manager show 전참시?
Yeah.
So they were one person on it was Teje, like the person who used to be a PD at SBS, and then she visited SBS. Now she's a freelancer, but then she visited like her old coworkers, and it was like 9 p.m. But they were just finishing a meeting, and they were getting dinner at the cafeteria, and then they were gonna go back to editing. And I feel like they don't get vacation because like shows just happen constantly, whether they like it or not. So I don't know. That also seems pretty miserable too.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up is seeing like the reality of jobs.
Yeah.
And how honestly every job, no matter what you do or where you go, there will be something rough about it, always, guaranteed.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny because I actually know a good handful of people. I don't know them, like, I'm not close to them per se, but I know a handful of people who have like delved into that industry at one point. There's this guy at my high school. He was my year, but he was at Jellyfish.
Oh
Yeah, which is Vix's agency, and Edge's a huge. She loves Vix.
I love it.
Yeah, but he was a trainee at
Oh my god, no
Jellyfish.
way.
Well, that's crazy.
Wait,
like in high school.
oh
It was
my
like
gosh, that's
sophomore
crazy.
year, but he came back.
Oh, he didn't.
I don't know. Like, I didn't talk to him about it, but
Yeah.
I am assuming it just didn't work out.
I mean, to be fair, Jellyfish is a pretty bad. I feel like they're a pretty bad agency at taking care of their artists. So
Yeah. But when he came back, I wasn't surprised at all. I was like,
Yeah.
it was to be expected.
Yeah.
But then I do know through Haiteen, which is like a Koreatown like pageant thing, like a very less so these days. Actually, these days it's just gone. Like, I think Haiteen was over.
Oh, really?
After COVID, it just like they
died.
just couldn't revive it.
I see.
But back in the day, like around 2000, like the 10s, people who participated in that, a lot of them, like
Scouted?
a couple of them would get scouted. And yeah, I do know like 2 girls below, like they're younger than us, who are part of like some K-pop group now, but they're not like huge. It's like very small, but yeah, I'm just like, oh, that's, I don't think I could ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Did you ever want to?
I mean, it flitted my brain for a little bit, but I feel like, yeah, I definitely did not have the talent whatsoever. So I never actually I just wanted to meet them, or if anything, I was thinking of more like an office job at the agencies rather than like the actual celebrity, like being a celebrity. And I remember, so I think one thing that helped me narrow down into like finance business for my career was when I was younger. Also, my celebrity crush obviously depended on what drama was airing or whatever. And then the drama at the time, I actually forget the name of it. It was like, not Pride and Prejudice, but like, it was, sorry, it was a Korean drama. And basically it was like a law, like prosecutor setting. So that was when I was like kind of into law, like business. But then the actor there, I thought he was really cute. And he was only a couple years older too, which at that time was still a little bit rare because we were still on the younger side.
Right.
So I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to meet this guy. Like, how can I meet this guy? And then my dad was saying, because I didn't want to become a celebrity, but I was like, how can I get to where I can meet them? And then my dad was saying how like if you want to be rich or like if you want to travel, you gotta work where you can touch the money. Like you will become rich if you if your job involves like actually handling the money. That's why you should go into finance. And I was like, I'm sold. I will be there. And so that's when I was looking at, because these big companies have global branches, and so that's when I was like briefly considering, oh my gosh, what if I end up like working in Korea for a little bit, things like that. So I think that's when my goal was just to work at like a bigger company that has you know, like a global operation. A very stupid reason, but I mean, it worked. So
It's not stupid because it worked.
it worked. I mean, not like I'll see a celebrity anytime. Actually, not that I saw a celebrity, but do you guys? I texted you guys, but I was at a client site.
Oh, yeah.
In this past year, and their location was in Hollywood, and our team happened to be at their office when the Versace fashion show was going on. So we were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because literally that day I was so frazzled. From OC to Hollywood, it took an hour and a half, and I left the house at like 6 something a.m. So I was already like over with the day, but I was just trying to find the elevator to get out of the law. But as soon as I like approached the elevator area, there are these, you know, the stereotypical like makeup artists, and like they're all black and they're huge suitcases, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And I was so scared. I had no idea this was happening at this location. I just needed to do my job and like go to the client's office. And then I was trying to go into the elevator, but the makeup artists were really like pushing me, like trying to push their suitcases in. Wow. Thankfully, I didn't have to take the elevator. I like found another security or person, and he directed me to the exit. But literally, as I was leaving, and I was approaching the office lobby, this big security guard in a black suit was like, "Are you here for the show?" And I was like, "No, like I'm an auditor." But, you know, like hindsight, I should have said yes, because who knows where he would have taken me. But like I had no idea that was happening. And then later, as the day progressed, we like looked outside, and they were setting up red carpets, and we could see from afar. We were like, oh my gosh, like, does anyone have the live stream link or whatever? And we're like looking on Twitter. My manager was like, oh my god, like Paris Hilton is down there. Oh my god, Miley Cyrus is down there. We were like, where? So I guess, yeah, you know, I saw celebrities from afar. Like, where are they? But yeah, so hopefully I can see more celebrities.
Yeah. Wait, what you just talked about, I don't know why, but it reminded me of back in the day. Did you guys ever use Google? Was it Google Plus?
Oh, it was like a social media of the Google. Yeah,
using your Gmail account, but they attempted to do like some
Facebook kind of
alternative
thing.
with
Yeah,
Google.
okay.
And in 8th grade, I didn't have a phone. Like I didn't have a phone until
like junior year of high school.
The later half of junior year of high school, and which meant I didn't have social media either, but I did have a Gmail account and a laptop, so I used Google Plus. Obviously no one else used it, but it was when I was obsessed with Song Joong-ki.
Yes.
I stumbled upon what I thought to be his Google Plus account. I thought it was real.
No.
I genuinely, I'm not kidding. I thought it was really real.
No.
And I DM'd him. I like literally, it was like a letter. And I think he actually, it was when he was gonna go into Kunde. And I was like, okay, I'm sad. So I was like, I need to talk to him before he goes.
Oh my god.
I actually got a reply, and it seemed real, but in retrospect, I'm like, no, this is some like bot or just a random weirdo out there. But
That's hilarious. Wait, so how did you react when you got the response?
I was ecstatic. I was so happy.
Wait, did he respond in English?
No, Korean. Because I sent it in Korean. Yeah, I was serious about. I thought I was gonna marry this guy. But he's kind of old.
He's old. Significantly older.
But
He's a baby daddy now.
Yeah. He is. He sure is.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But that just shows how naive you can be. But yeah, just a funny little anecdote.
Yes.
Dang. You could have gotten like scammed.
I really could have.
He really could have been like, you know, can you send me some money for my last meal before I go to Kunde or something? And you totally would have sent it.
But I mean, maybe. But I would be like, no, he's successful. Why would he need money from me? I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a DM from Keanu Reeves before.
What?
Fake Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves of all people.
Yeah.
That's so random.
And it was like, it was some random message like, hey, like, I'm Keanu Reeves. Can you send me some money? Like something, I don't know. And I remember this was the time when I was getting a lot of random DMs from random people. They're like, the Instagram bio was like, I'm looking for a sugar baby. And I'm like, it's just like some random man. I was like, and then Keanu Reeves found me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're on his radar.
That's actually really scary.
That's pretty terrifying. Dang.
Speaking of career and what you want to be when you grow up, I thought it was really interesting because I met up with my high school friend, or actually she's more like my childhood friend because we went to elementary, middle, and high school together. But then she's close to this girl who also went to elementary school with us, and they're like they've been since like kindergarten. So anyways, I met up with them recently because they were in town, and they both went to school in the East Coast, like college in the East Coast. And I talked about somehow UX UI came up in our conversation. They didn't know what it was. And I was like, really, it was like a culture shock because I was like, maybe this is like a very West Coast thing because the Silicon Valley is on the West Coast and it's very techy here. Whereas, and like the culture of West Coast colleges, maybe they emphasize the tech world more than the East Coast. But yeah, I was very surprised. And I think a lot of my high school peers, most of them go to school in the East Coast, and they eventually, a lot of them go into the finance world, banking,
That makes sense.
investing, analysts, stuff like that. So I just thought that was really interesting. And maybe if I had gone to school outside of California, maybe it's interesting. It's like, oh, you never know where you will end up.
Yeah.
Like little things like that, they really determine like where you end up. So
For sure.
yeah.
Environment definitely plays a really big role. Yeah. Like my younger brother, he's at Berkeley right now, and so that culture is also super different than SoCal school. I feel like that place is actually like a pressure cooker. You're just really grinding it out. And he originally wanted to be a sports analyst or sports agent, but because of just the nature of the people and the clubs and the general environment he's surrounded by, he wants to go into IB, like investment banking. And I was like, my dad was like, wow, great. I mean, obviously, yes. But I'm just like, wow, I don't know. I never expected. I mean, I'm sure he's capable of it, but I don't know. From someone who like is work or has started working, it's definitely a really tough path. I don't know how people do it because it's really tough. Just those long hours. Yeah.
That kind of reminds me. I remember I had this conversation a couple years back. I forget with who, but we were talking about how just us being raised in Los Angeles, that in itself kind of, I'm sure, is very different from someone who grew up in, I don't know, Kansas. Like just
Kansas.
Kansas.
For sure.
But like even what you talked about, like, wanting to maybe go into the entertainment industry, I think that doesn't even cross people's minds if they're not really exposed to that. But then you don't really think about that until you do, you know.
That's true.
Yeah. But I guess that's a good transition into the generational dreams that are changing. Like kids these days, their aspirational like dreams in terms of career, it's very different from when we were growing up, and obviously that's different from when our parents were kids. But yeah, kids these days want to be influencers, and
Yeah.
it's a huge deal. And it's very valid, because if you look at these influencers, it almost seems like they made it within a day. And
Yeah.
once you blow up, you blow up. Like, you made it in a sense. And
Right.
it seems really easy to do, like almost effortless. So kids are like, oh, you can actually make a career out of that. And that kind of made me think, oh, if every kid wants to be in that industry, what's going to happen to
Society.
yeah, like there's going to be a shortage of lawyers, doctors, engineers,
Like plumbers, electricians,
yeah,
just
gardeners,
like bare necessities.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Yeah. They're all very necessary for society to run, for the world to run. But
Yeah.
if all these kids are like, oh no, I want to be a TikToker, what's going to happen? You know?
Yeah.
But then I get it, because I too, like obviously it seems like an easy lifestyle to live. But maybe it's the same thing as when we were little, we thought K-pop idols lived a great life.
But the reality
is that's not always the case.
Right.
So it's probably the same with influencers, I'm sure. But
I guess in a way, influencers are the new celebrities. So that
yeah.
can also probably be exhausting in a sense, because their whole life is on display. I feel like celebrities, it was like, yeah, their life is on display, but it's not as personal as it is with influencers now.
Right.
Because now it's the society and just consumers in general want that personal aspect and like the real aspect of people. And so if influencers aren't showing like their homes and like all these personal more intimate dimensions of themselves, it's just kind of pointless to the consumers. I feel like it kind of defeats their appeal. So maybe that's the difficult aspect.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot more like TikTokers, influencers, when they first start off as like people who are influencers for like fashion or like makeup, you know, that's all they do on camera. And then you start to see people become curious about their daily life, how they really are as people. And then that's when they kind of like open up. They're like, hey, like a lot more people are becoming curious about me as like who I am as a person. So like I'll show you. And then it just gradually like they just open up more and more. And I just find that really interesting. Like now that you mentioned that, it's like I just realized.
Yeah.
Like it's
And I think the trend is once they reach that point where they're more open about their private lives, then they kind of reach like a burning point where they close off completely. They either like deactivate their account or just go MIA. And then because obviously it's probably a lot, like I'm sure if they're just walking around their neighborhood, they have no privacy whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. But then a lot of them like kind of make a comeback, you know?
yeah.
So maybe this in itself, like fame, do you think fame can be a drug?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
You
I
know?
feel like.
I think maybe influencing and vlogging and stuff like that makes fame more accessible. Yeah. And so people are falling into that.
Yeah, like Muk-jji-bba. He just kind of disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Didn't he come back though? Recently?
He's like slowly, I think.
Oh, is he?
But I don't know what exactly he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because he was such a big part of OG YouTube, and then
Yeah.
he just literally disappeared at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
It's very scary. And like in Korea too, my dad was just randomly brought it up. But when they were like growing up in Korea, it was like obviously everybody has different talents and different interests. And so my dad would be like, yeah, you know, in my high school, like some kid who is strong and just like good with physical labor would become a farmer, and it was like fine. Someone like the smartest kid of the class would be the one who moves out of the countryside, goes to Seoul, and like goes to a law school, and he'd be the one who like quote unquote made it, you know. And like everyone is doing different things, but in a culture like Korea especially, like everyone is trying to go to law school, like everyone is trying to do the same thing. Also, no one is having babies, so that's just another problem in itself too. But like if the limited number of young people are doing all the same thing, then it's like the problem that you said, how there's a shortage of just everything, and it's just very concerning. Yeah.
Well, we could think about that later.
That's the government's problem.
Yeah. But honestly, I get it, because a lot of people aren't getting paid the amount that they should be getting paid, which makes living so hard, which is why I understand people would just rather ditch their jobs and do something else, or just not work, rather than put in the work and the effort and reach that burnout point. With having that little money, it's just not worth it. So when you see influencers and celebrities making tons of money by just saying like, oh my god, this product changed my life, it's like, yeah, of course. I mean, of course, like they do so much more in like the background, and I understand. But when we, like us as the viewers, and we like when we see that, it just seems easy, and it's like, oh my god, the amount of money that they make, the lifestyle that they live, it's like, I want that with like little to no effort in some ways. But I get it.
I wonder what, like, you know, when we were in middle and high school, a lot of the content that we consumed, it was like very, there were categories like beauty, fashion, like vloggers. It was very like, oh, they had their specialty. But these days, that's not really the case. It's literally just them showing their lives. And like, I too enjoy those more than like, oh, like this is a new makeup product or whatever. Like those reviews, you know? But why is that? Like, what made that change in like the wiring of our brains? I am not sure.
I'm not super sure either, but the YouTuber Michelle Choi. So my sister and I both, like, we have a similar list of YouTubers that we kind of like subscribe to and like keep up with. And we were like recently we're watching her video, like YouTube video on our TV. And we were like, why do we always watch her videos? It's literally just her showing her life in New York, like her daily life. And it's not always the most like 화려해, you know? It's like very normal. It's just things people do every day, whether that's like cleaning, like getting groceries or cooking. And my sister was like, I feel like I just like watching her videos because it's just very real. It's just something like I would do too. It's nothing super special, but she just seems really real. And I was like, oh, like, okay. But yeah, I'm actually like really curious as to like why I always keep up with those types of vlogs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like go down. I also think that too, because I think there was, especially during the pandemic, when there was nothing else to do and you couldn't do much with your life. I think I was just constantly looking for like a new vlog to watch, or like why doesn't this vlogger like post a new vlog? Hurry up, you know? And I don't know. I kind of like found it sad in a sense, because even post-pandemic I'm still like seeking out vlogs and I really do enjoy them, but at the same time it's like I'm spending so much of my life watching other people's lives. Like I need to live my life, so sometimes I get all existential like that. But I think, I don't know what it is, because honestly what they do is really not different from what we do, but it's, for some reason it feels different. I don't know what it is.
That's funny you say that, because sometimes I watch YouTube on like the big screen in the living room, and my parents are like watching me watch these vlogs, and they just cannot wrap their heads around why I'm watching these. And my mom literally said that. She was like, why are you watching what other people are, like, why do you care? And I'm like, that's a great question. Why do I care? But it's entertaining, and maybe it's just another way of living vicariously through other people. Because what they do, yes, they do very ordinary, normal things that I do as well, like just going to the market and buying groceries or whatever. But I tend to watch people who, for example, live elsewhere, like New York, because I don't live in New York. And that's more interesting than people who live in LA, because that's very accessible to me. I can easily do that. And so it's not as like glamorous, I guess. So maybe that's one aspect of it. And it is interesting how you mentioned the pandemic. Maybe the pandemic also played a big role in that. Because I know vlogging was big before the pandemic, but I think it became
blew
bigger.
up.
Yeah, when people were just stuck at home. Yeah.
True. Yeah. Maybe also part of me sees what they do and I automatically think, oh, they get so many views, they probably make so much money. Maybe I should do this because their lives look exactly like mine. But I know that's a lot of work to edit and like commit to showcasing your life in that way. So like props to them truly for, yeah, because I know a lot of the vloggers also have like their own jobs or do other things. And so, yeah, but I think one thing is a lot of Korean vloggers don't show their faces. You know how that's like a huge thing?
Yeah.
They do everything, but they do not show their face.
Cut here.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, like what if? Like if that's possible, but yeah, obviously I haven't put anything to action and don't think I will, so.
There was one. Okay, I think you guys mentioned her YouTube before. You guys watch her, and like my sister does too. I don't, but my sister like showcased her like YouTube channel video on the TV, and we're watching, and she got a skincare brand sponsor. Yeah, but she literally doesn't show her face. And like, no, like get that bag, like get that bag.
No,
get
truly,
sponsored.
truly.
But
No, yeah.
I was genuinely so like I grew speechless when the mirror was like it was like circular.
blurred.
It was like covering her face like this, and she's like in the background like
yeah, and you just see she just like opens her fridge and 갑자기 the product is in the fridge, and yeah, she's slapping it on, but you only see here or a face or neck down,
Right.
And it's like that's not you're not even applying the product.
Wait, that's so interesting because one, I think it's interesting that skincare company reached out of all these people, reached out to someone who doesn't show her face. Because who knows? What if she has like the worst skin ever?
Oh, true.
But like how, like,
True.
yeah, that's
maybe that's why. Because then the skincare brand doesn't have to be held accountable for results.
And she can just
Shoot.
verbally say it, and she'll
That's
be like,
true.
I've been using it for 6 weeks, but how would we know? We won't.
It's like I observed drastic results. It's like what results?
We'll never know.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is so funny. This is kind of random, but did you guys ever want to be like a fictional career?
Fictional, as in like
Fictional?
a made up job, or like a fictional
Like a
character?
wizard.
Oh,
Like, for example, because right, I only say this because we're using my Harry Potter book set as a tripod. But yeah, I was just curious.
honestly, yeah. I watched a lot of Disney Channel, and so Wizards of Waverly Place was one of my favorite shows. And I think I really wished that a lot of the spells that they would use depending on the episode was a real spell. Like one thing I remember in particular was there was one spell that could freeze time. The only caveat was that the person who did the spell, they could only use one leg, so they would have to like hop on. They would hop on one leg, and as soon as the other leg dropped, the spell would be broken. But
right.
I would even to this day, I actually think about that spell.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I like do that.
No.
I hop on one leg.
No, but like back then when I watched that episode, I would always think like, oh my gosh, like I wonder how long I could last with one leg.
Yeah.
but yeah, just random things like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's one line from Wizards of Waverly Place that I always say at home, but it's when Max turns into Maxine. Like, yeah, he's like a girl, and I think it was what's the older brother's name?
Justin.
I think Justin's on a date with his like vampire girlfriend or something, and he like set up like this thing in their balcony, and then Maxine comes out and like she sees that, she goes, "Are we in Paris? Buenos dias." I always say that, like, out of nowhere.
So, but I don't remember that line. Oh my god.
It's like the one thing I remember like so vividly from Wizards of Waverly Place. Anyways,
that's so funny.
yes.
Yeah.
Wait, did you want to be something like?
Like a wizard. Like that. I think that's a lot of people can relate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think one thing that I'm remembering is Meet the Robinsons. I don't. Technically, this isn't like a fictional career because technically, you can be an inventor. Maybe not to that scale, but yeah, I was so inspired by that movie that I got like the Scholastic book catalogs.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of things from there, like
Bougie.
Dang.
yeah. Maybe I got my book hoarding thing from that.
Yeah, my mom never let me buy anything.
My
from
mom
her.
highly encouraged it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She would
There's
like
the
buy all the
difference.
classics. She'd be like, "Oh, you have to read the classics." But I was like, "But I want to read Calvin and Hobbes."
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that is besides the point. Remember I got this like metal magnetic notebook.
Oh,
And
wow.
it kind of reminded me of Meet the Robinsons, the notebook that he used to sketch up all his like
yeah.
inventions and ideas. So I did that.
Oh, that's so cute.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was like kind of beyond the age. I was like a little too old to do that.
Oh wait, how old were you?
I don't like late elementary.
I feel like that's
I
still...
think that's
Isn't
valid.
that when that movie came out anyway? Like around that time?
I think so. But yeah, I probably still have it somewhere in the house. But
Dang.
yeah,
Yeah, that movie always makes me think how little actions in the present, what could it, how could it impact the future? Like, it's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
I guess we'll never know.
True. We'll only find out.
good one. Yeah,
Dang.
yeah. What about you, Judy? Fictional careers.
I don't think I've ever had one. I didn't watch a lot, like Wizards of Waverly Place, like that stuff I watched, but my mom didn't really like us watching a lot of things that do with like too much fiction and like, because I feel like some of those things like, involve a lot of like spirits and, you know, my Christian parents were like, oh,
Witchcraft.
bad. Yeah. I'm like, no, like Satan. So yeah, I feel like I like never finished a Harry Potter book. Barely watched Harry Potter movies. Yeah, so whenever everyone's like, oh, like what house like are you part of, whatever, I'm like, I don't freaking know.
The Rowe household.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah, I legit like yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I was always so shameful when, like, at church, when I would say, like, when someone's like, oh, what's your favorite book? Or, like, what's your favorite movie? And the first thing that would come to mind would be Harry Potter. But I, like, never said it because I was like, you know.
Really?
Yeah. I thought, like, people would judge me.
What?
But,
Dang. I might have.
people like you.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
My sister says she got nightmares after reading Harry Potter because it deals with a lot of like interesting stuff.
Scary. I mean, I remember watching the very first movie. I don't know if it was the first movie, but there was the three-headed dog, and it was the huge. Yeah, there's a three-headed dog, and it's huge, and it like roars. So I remember I was pretty scared of that. And then the troll too. That was really scary.
Yeah. I think the first two movies are the scariest.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and Voldemort, like the two-headed, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Voldemort himself looks kind of scary.
yeah, that's
But
also true.
under all of that makeup, he's pretty good looking.
Oh, is he?
I don't know. He's not bad. Well, I mean, compared to Voldemort, like.
Yeah, he's the guy who The Menu. Did you guys watch? I didn't watch it.
The
but
Menu?
Yeah, it's a recent movie where it's one of those like murder mystery. Actually,
It's like they feed you like weird.
yeah,
food.
everyone ends up dying or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Spoiler.
the head. You weren't gonna watch it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, the head chef or whatever is the guy who played Voldemort, and I was like,
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong guy then.
yeah,
Because anyways.
yeah. Anyways, I was like,
Oh, what?
wow, he looks normal here. Yeah.
Dang. Maybe you guys could have turned into one of those like interesting chefs that does like those like cool course meals because you said you wanted to be a chef.
Yeah.
But being a chef also, I heard, is really rough.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So truly,
Yeah.
the movies make it look really nice.
Like Ratatouille.
Yeah, Ratatouille.
Yeah. So cute.
I sang the Ratatouille song for my senior recital.
Oh no way!
The French one?
Yeah, because I wanted to.
That's a power move. I feel like.
Random fact, y'all. Anyway,
Can you sing a little bit for us?
maybe off camera.
Okay, off camera.
Dang.
Remember Ratatouille? The musical was a thing during the pandemic?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, it was
shoot.
huge on TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that
It's
was
crazy.
a long time ago.
What a
No.
time.
Yeah.
The way our conversation progressed from what we want to become to this crazy,
Yeah.
but
I think good talk overall.
yeah, for sure.
I feel like it encapsulates just how unpredictable the general job market / job culture
Yeah.
is. So,
Right.
because I feel like we thought remote hybrid would be forever, but it does not seem like the case anymore.
Nope.
Just little things like that. Yeah, we never know what will be next.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like just a lot of non-traditional jobs are also coming up, and even traditional jobs are becoming much more different, and especially with technology, different things like that. Who knows where we'll be even next year, guys?
You never
Truly.
know. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think that kind of wraps up today's episode. Yeah, we'll catch you in next week's episode, and we decide to close in the same way that we closed last week.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.